Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Behind the Media. Let's get into this CIA torture.
Yeah, I know
we're gonna
you
get into
ready
some
to.
other stuff
I
too.
know you ready to jump into it. I'm sitting here talking, and you just start.
I
Just
know.
push. Didn't tell nobody.
Well, I
No
do
five,
stuff
four,
like
three,
that.
two, one, or nothing.
Nothing. Don't break it down for you. We're gonna get into this Chris Rock. He said something Hollywood racism, and I just don't understand why people who work in Hollywood, how are you gonna bite the hand that feeds you? This still makes sense to me. And then this murder suicide that happened in L.A. Oh my God.
I know it was such a big story on local news.
The CIA torture, because we got to give y'all some politics, but we try to give it to you, like break it down in an everyday situation.
Because just everybody can't handle wasabi on their steak. You got to kind of cut that junk up into a top.
Yeah, because nobody want to hear about all this negative stuff. But anyway.
Unless, of course, you're talking about black people. Then we can talk about negative stuff all day long.
Well, we're not part of the media, are we?
Okay, just color it up. No.
Speaking of the media, the CIA director, John Brennan, he had a press conference, right? Now, the last time the CIA director had a press conference was in 2004. So they're getting some heat.
So they got to, most people do things at least annually or biannually. Most folks, have to do quarterly reports. He get to do a decade report. Huh?
I know. The only time we get to see the CIA is like if we're going to a Bourne movie or something. We don't never hear from the CIA. What's going on, CIA? And then you got that movie, The Interview, getting ready to come out, where the CIA hired two dimwits to go. You know what I was thinking? That movie, The Interview, getting ready to come out.
Right.
What if some other filmmakers in other countries made a movie about killing our president? We would be up in arms over some shit like that.
Yeah, and he was up in arms, but they just kind of brushed him off like he don't matter. So in North Korea.
I know, but like Seth Rogen and James Franco just gonna make a movie about taking out, like, we can't even say we want to quote our president. You go to jail for that over here.
That's true.
They just straight up making a movie about taking a motherfucker out.
And how they gonna do it and making it funny and all this kind of stuff.
What kind of shit is that?
I guess the CIA probably approved that, so they think that you think that, oh, this is the kind of dim-witted stuff that they do and not what's in this report.
Oh, so if
real.
they make it like a comedy, it's okay.
Well,
come on now.
They did some horrible. Hey, this CIA report is brutal, and it's like you hear like little blurbs, oh, CIA report or whatever, but you don't get to hear. They're not putting in the headlines what's actually in the report. It's some horrible, horrible shit they did up
like
in there.
Peanuts up the butthole. What kind of shit is that? Did you hear about them feeding?
Yeah, they was doing forced rectal feeding and
what
stuff
the
like
hell?
that. They said down there that they only waterboarded 3 people. We've heard that a couple of times.
That's been going on for a while.
But they said, oh, we only waterboarded 3 people. But one of the people that they waterboarded, they did it 183 times.
Matter of fact, let me read you the list of some of the top things they did to these people. Okay, I'm going to read you the list. You just mentioned
The
rectal feeding,
you mentioned
waterboarding, keeping people up for weeks.
180 hours.
Come on. Isolating people for a long time. Like you can't talk to nobody for weeks. And forcing them to watch Fox News. That is just torture.
That's torture.
How can you be that ruthless?
Well, my goodness. What do you want them to do? Just ask them nicely and you think they're going to tell you all their terrorist
Can you believe
secrets?
that?
Come on.
And then why we had to torture them? What happened to that truth pill that we used to supposedly had? They're supposed to be a pill out there you give to people.
And they couldn't help
and they just start telling the truth.
Well, you would think that you could just hypnotize them or something of that nature. You don't have to break their legs and make them stand on a broken leg. That's some pretty horrible things that we got going on. And yet all of our attention has been diverted because look at how we looked at Ebola for a second. And you have to think, okay, what were we diverting us from with Ebola? Then you had protests that were washed over like, oh, it's not really anything. We'll talk about it for a few days and blow over it. Now we got protests against police brutality against black people, against one black man, which is horrible.
That's a form of torture too.
But don't get me wrong, it's horrible. But it should be in the same group with this.
It is. It should be.
It should be.
Matter of fact, that's
in the media.
Let's
in
show
the
them how
media.
it should be. How it should be. Paint the picture for them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so you have people who can say, "Oh, well, that guy was a criminal. He was doing something illegal." Well, you should never say no to a cop. You know, that's authority. You're supposed to respect authority. And because you're pointing it at one individual or making it a black-white issue or that's their politics issue, then it's okay.
See, that's exactly what they do. They may. I'm not saying the people they was torturing are innocent, but they get away with it by making them look like horrible people. And that, like they do the young black men. They've spent the last 30 years, or even probably more, making young black men look like criminals. So the police can get away with terrorism and torture towards a young black man.
And the media is all involved in it. And that's the part I don't understand. Not that they're doing it. I understand what they're doing. I see it. I have eyes.
Well, that's why they get away with it.
I don't understand how other people don't see it.
Well, when you say other people, because we see it.
Well, yeah, and if we see it.
You talking about them people that live in the suburbs?
No, because the suburban people.
Or them people live in the trailer parks?
No, I'm talking about the people who live in the bubbles.
Speaking of trailer parks, I don't mean to get off subject. Have you heard of Lennon Lacey?
Mm-mm.
This is a young black man who was found hung. Yeah, they found him from a children's swing in a trailer park in North Carolina. And they thought it was, at first they came in and declared it a suicide. But now they starting to look more into it because he had on some tennis shoes that wasn't even his size. Like he wears size 13. He had on some white 10.5 tennis shoes. And his dad, and they were saying those are not his shoes, and now they're looking at it as a hate crime. Like they thinking he might have got killed just for walking through a trailer park full of all white people. But this ain't getting no news coverage.
None.
Not yet. And it may get news coverage because it's if he got good grades, it won't be a good news coverage.
Yeah.
But if he got a criminal record, it's gonna be.
But
big.
if we can find that jaywalking ticket or that D he made in music appreciation,
yes.
well, then
then it's gonna be major mainstream, all out media attack. But I didn't mean to go off track, but
it does.
It
does, and it does kind of actually it goes back because it all reflects on that whole whatever we can play in that whole American value system, the good old, like somebody was talking about how they use little euphemisms. They don't want to say, oh, white people did this or white people won't do that. They'll say hardworking Americans just won't stand for this. And I'm sorry,
I work for white people.
I work 80 hours a week. I'm not a hardworking American.
Ain't that funny how who did that? Who created those codes? Like if you hear the word hard working person, you automatically think white. And if they worked hard, then 400 years ago they wouldn't have to bring no people over here to work. What I ain't going there.
Ooh, no, go there because that was.
But if you say welfare recipient, you think black female, even though the majority of the people that was on welfare is white. But ain't that funny how we got these pictures and you ain't even got to say codes.
And it's not even wow. Stereotypes is a motherfucker, ain't they?
Yeah, that's why we're here.
They are a hell of a drug. It's a hell of a drug.
That's why we're here. I mean, even John McClane. Let me see, John McClane. What's this? Die Hard or something?
I know, right?
McClane, the Republican senator that ran against Obama.
Mm-hmm.
He even had to raise his arms at this torture tactics, even though it didn't go over his head. But that's okay. That's wrong. Because that's a war hero.
Ooh, you going to hell.
How are you going to talk about a war hero like that?
You going to hell with gasoline draws on. I'll save you a seat over there by the air conditioner.
You know you ain't right. Okay, but anyway, he was even saying these tactics wasn't in line with the American values.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the media spin on the thing on what these tactics aren't in line with American values. This is whenever we can admit that something is wrong. They're not saying that, oh, this is wrong and we did it. They're saying, oh, this guy should have never been part of the CIA. He had a history of violence. He had a leaning toward violence or torturing animals when he was a kid or some other psychological. The chief petty officer. They said he should not have even been in the CIA because he had psychological issues.
What's his name?
Why you gonna ask me that? Do I look like Google to you? Do you see a www dot on my forehead or something? Go Google that stuff. I don't remember his name.
Go ahead.
But anyway, but they were saying that he wasn't even supposed to be in the CIA, and they were inexperienced operatives just making things up as they go along, as if these are the standouts, the outliers,
yeah, they always try to make it look like crazy. This is
it's
abnormal.
Not normal.
This is abnormal.
That's my point.
They always do that. But yet you hired 2 psychiatrists to come up with this program. Gave them $81 million of our money. I go to work every day. I know some of you out there don't believe a young black man like myself go to work, but I works every day except Sundays. This is when I go work for the Lord. Okay? I know you don't believe that, but yeah,
I didn't say nothing.
You heard about that, right?
I didn't say nothing about your Lord.
The 2 psychiatrists got $81 million.
That's what they told you.
What you think they got?
Much more. They got 81 million above the table. Come on.
I mean, what ain't the NBA? Ain't gonna be no salary cap.
Well, I mean, whenever you doing stuff like that, y'all watch Scandal. Y'all think Command live like that? Or you think Olivia learned to dress like that based on an 80? Come on.
And then Cheney. Every time somebody criticizing what went on during the Bush administration when he was the vice president, he just rise up from the dead. Sometimes I just think he done had like 25 heart replacements. He don't say nothing until all of a sudden he be strong. He like wake up. He like laying in his bed like, and then you say something about what the Bush administration. He wake up and we did nothing wrong.
That's what Cheney like. He's like the sole reason that the military conducts zombie apocalypse training right now, because he's like proof that there is a zombie.
And you was a vice president hunting and you shot a man while you was hunting, so we know you can't see. What kind of shit is that? He shot a man.
Oh, but they are saying that they had
and these psychiatrists, they had like code names. So what that mean?
It was war. Don't you understand? You can't just ask them nicely. You can't handle the truth.
Who can't? Well, see, here come my racial side coming out right now. And I mean no harm to you, to the gray people out there. Sometimes you guys just can't handle the truth. Because, like, no disrespect. You know when somebody say no disrespect, that means
they about to say the most disrespectful shit ever.
So you ready, y'all? When 9/11 happened, the only damn people who was shocked was white people. They were shocked like no one liked Americans. But most minorities and everybody was sitting here. We've been trying to tell you, rich people, because I don't want to say white people, but you know, money gets associated with white people. So that's why a lot of times white people take a lot of bad rap. Because even though there's a lot of working class and poor white people in this country, because no one pushes them to the forefront, they take a lot of the hell that rich people's doing. So when rich people is overseas trying to sell more lattes and hamburgers, and them people over there saying, we don't want your how to, and then we just forcing it on them. Because think about this. There's military bases in almost every country in this world. American military bases. Have you ever walked around America and seen a foreign military base?
And you won't.
Now, how would the fuck you feel if you was walking to school or your kids was walking to school? You ain't got none yet. But if they was walking to school and they had to walk by some foreign country, it was holding Uzis and stuff. Uzis
and pointing at them and saying stuff.
But that's what these other people going through, that's what we doing. And then we wonder why people looking at America like,
oh, they just don't like our way of life.
Oh, we're just over there fighting for freedom. What, freedom to selling hamburgers? You just looking for more customers. That's all it is corporations looking for more customers and trying to take over the cocaine game.
Fix it, Jesus, fix it.
And so this stuff, it gets me every time, man. It really does. And if they really want to torture somebody, why don't they just bring in Bill Cosby? Did I mention him already?
Ooh, no, but it's we're gonna We gonna bring back.
Are we
gonna bring back castrating?
No, but remember, you funny. Remember, I was just talking about them drugs, like them truth serum drugs. Did Bill take all the drugs? You know, because you went.
Well, this one, who sold Bill the drugs that he was using?
So who gave them to him?
Well, I'm saying it's 20-something women, and this is multiple occasions. It's not like he just wait. I mean, was he growing them? I'm saying this is a lot of.
He get them? Because that was like in the 70s and 80s. That's what they used to call. It was called a roofie back then. So.
It's called a roofie now, but I'm saying.
I thought it was called date rape. What's that word? GCH.
But that's what I mean. They still say slip him a roofie.
But anyway, so yeah, man, that's a trip how we can manipulate words, and they get away with stuff like this because they won't call it torture. They would call it enhanced interrogation. They've always got away with manipulating words. Enhanced interrogation. Give me a fucking break. I don't mean to generalize all white men, but I'm just saying the ones in power, they ain't no joke, man.
Well, what's the purpose?
They like a torture.
What's the purpose of having the power if you can't use the power?
Like, I'm just sitting here thinking, you just made me think like, man, how you going to feed somebody with peanuts? Not to be going back to that other issue, but that is like ruthless. Who come up with that?
That booty stuff really bothered you, didn't it?
It's just
who thinks of something like that? Who even thinks of that? And I'm
waterboarding. But they are the same people who just regular old people trying to fight for their rights. They'll hose them down with water hose and sick dogs on them. Them the same people. But yet they always want to call us the criminals and we the bad people.
And barbarians.
Okay,
barbarians.
Okay, we won't.
And terrorists.
That. Yes, they were terrorists. Nobody ever called a KKK terrorist, huh? Until now, obviously a few people, but that was terrorism, right? Bombing, bombing up churches. Yeah. Are you guys in the suburbs following me right now? See how powerful words are. You can manipulate words. You can call it torture, or you can call it enhanced interrogation. You can call it stealing, or you can call it looting. You can call it murder, or you can call it war.
Or self-defense.
Hello. You good, America. You good.